Hi, it's me, Bear. Nice to see you. Thank you for clicking on my video. I just want to say that I wanted to put this video out last year, a few years back actually, but there's always going to be a different reason each time. I will come up in my head that I just can't put this video out yet. The environment's not perfect, the aesthetic's not perfect. I need my hair to be perfect, I need my skin to be perfect, I need to be completely fully ready, etc., etc. But there's always going to not be like, a right time or a wrong time. I just need to do it. So here I am. And am I ready? Kind of. Am I not ready? Kind of. But I want to disclaim that trigger warning for those who are watching and or listening to this video. For this story does consist of essay, and if you don't know what essay means, it just Google it. But yeah, trigger warning for those who are easily triggered by topics and or stories consisting of essay. But anyway, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my video. I'll try my best just to get right into it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and share this story as if I'm telling it to another person who I feel safe and comfortable with to be this vulnerable. So, hi. Basically, 7 years ago, today is actually the anniversary, and that's why I wanted to post this video out today and talk about it. And as I said, it does consist of essay, so it is my essay story. 7 years ago, I had experienced essay, and here is what happened. It was by someone that I was already friends with for about 3, almost 4 years. And I wouldn't say we were like extremely close. I wouldn't say I trusted my life with this person. They were just someone I hung out with quite often throughout those years, and they were just, a friend. But I can't say for sure that it was a friend I didn't think would do this. What happened was 2017, a little bit of context. I had just gotten out of a almost 5-year relationship, and I was going down a very self-destructive path during that time. I was 22, I believe, and I would partake in or indulge in going out to parties and with this friends really, and go out to parties, go out to clubs, and I would drink and dance and try to just do whatever I could to fill that void because I was going through it. I was in a really bad place. Just a lot of anxiety, a lot of insecurities, a lot of depression, and I didn't know how to cope or handle any of that well whatsoever, or in any form of healthy, any form that was healthy whatsoever. So, anyway, I would go out to parties with this friend and a few others, and yeah, so that was just kind of my phase at the time. And there was one day, and it was November 11th, and it was the worst day, one of the worst days of my life, because I had gone to a baby shower at that time, and it was with people that I wasn't even close with, I barely even knew, and there was like one person there who very obviously hated me, so I was just like anxious and uncomfortable the entire time. So I love that for me. And I had already planned to go clubbing with this said friend. And usually we would go and club with not just us, but with one or two other people. So I had asked them prior to this day, like, oh, okay, well, are we inviting this friend or whoever? And they said, no, I didn't really invite them or anything. I kind of just wanted to just hang out with you. I said, all right, yeah, it's fine. I guess we can just play it by ear. Maybe find out later if somebody wants to join us, whatever. I didn't think much of it. After the baby shower, after I was already having just like, not necessarily a panic attack, but just I was definitely anxious and uncomfortable. And I was so ready to go out and drink and dance the night away. and and so we do. And I did have a friend with me, or well, they were a coworker, And they came with us. We went to a club, we danced, we had a few drinks, and then that friend that I was with me, my coworker, left earlier that night. So then it was just me and said friend. Him. We're gonna call him him. He. And that's not really much of a name. You know, I don't really feel like giving him a name right now. So him or he. And as the night continues on, we would always have this routine whenever we go out and party or go out and club where we would go to Whataburger right after and have late night Whataburger breakfast food. And yeah, so that was the routine. And it was getting later and I had a couple drinks, so I was definitely not sober. I was I was drunk and getting closer to like when we were getting ready to leave, we were talking and we decided, oh, okay, you want to go to Whataburger again, get some late night breakfast fast food, very healthy. And they said, yeah. I said, okay, yeah. And meanwhile, I'm over here just like kind of loopy. They gave me my last drink and we proceeded to go walk over to his car. And as we were driving, like, of course, the night started to pass through in my memory, kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's just whooshing through memory when I remember it. Like, I don't recall remembering the steps or anything. I just remember in like little moments in my memory. And we go into the car, and then we're on the highway already. I can feel my heart already like getting heavy while talking about this. But anyway, so I got this. We got this. As you were driving on the highway, I obviously I'm drunk, so I'm just kind of loopy, and I look over to them, and I don't know how unsober they were, to be honest. They definitely drank, but I don't know if they were drunk. They weren't tipsy enough, buzzed enough to like drive terribly, so they were driving fairly fine from what I remember. And I remember vaguely while we were on the highway that they kept saying something to me, and I was like, what did you say? And they continued to say, I'm going to seduce you. And I like giggled and laughed because I was like, what? Like what? Just kind of in disbelief, like, what do you mean? And they said, I'm going to try to seduce you. And I didn't really like think much of it because I was drunk and just wasn't in that kind of headspace to take what they were saying seriously. The next thing you know, we were on the highway and I blink and I open my eyes and we were parked. But in front of me, I don't see Whataburger. We're not parked in a Whataburger parking lot. Instead, I see that we're parked behind a van and we were in some neighborhood. I don't know what neighborhood. We were just in a neighborhood. There were just trees everywhere. There was a van in front of us. And yeah, and so I kind of like was gathering myself. I was like, where are we? Where are we? And um, then he proceeded to come over to my side and touch me. And um, at this point, I think in my head, I think my body, my brain just kind of knew that I just was not in the right headspace to even physically fight back or actively be like, no, get off me. I don't want this. I never said I wanted this. Um, but they presume to come to my side and touch and kiss, and I just didn't like move. My body went into like an autopilot, um an autopilot space, I guess, a headspace. And the rest of that event, I genuinely like only, like I said earlier, like I kind of remember it in spurts and little moments, and it genuinely felt like a nightmare. After he presumed to take advantage of me in his car, I was definitely an autopilot, so I didn't say no, I didn't say yes, I just kind of let everything happen. And after, I kind of just like acted like none of that happened. Like we stopped at some point, and and then and then he took me to Whataburger afterwards. And I just presumed to just act like nothing happened. Went into Whataburger, got my Whataburger breakfast, went back in the car, and he took me home. I went to my room, and I just sat there eating my Whataburger, and just, I wasn't sober, so like I didn't really know what to think. I thought maybe that didn't actually happen because I wasn't sober, so maybe that I just kind of deluded myself into thinking that happened. But it wasn't until the next day I woke up and I realized I know that actually happened. And and of course, I was having like just this intense panic, anxiety attack. And the first person I told at the time was my sister. And of course, she didn't know what to do. And she was also in shock. And I didn't know what to do because I was just in shock because I didn't realize, like, I can't believe that happened. And I, like, this is a really ridiculous thing to say, that I let that happen. I don't know how to state that sentence again, but like, I know that's not like the right thing to think right now, but he was definitely a much bigger person than me and much stronger person than me. And and I didn't know what to do or think. And I literally thought maybe it was a dream, maybe it was a nightmare and it didn't actually happen. I continued to think that. I continued to think that maybe, as I presume, to continuously have just a panic attack internally, like almost every single day for like a couple of weeks after that. I had told like no one except my sister and except like one other person, and I regretted it after that. But anyway, I presumed to just have continuous panic attacks every night just thinking about it. And I somehow managed to like message this person like the next day or 2 days later about it, and they didn't own up to what had happened. They didn't really like. They said I told them, you took advantage of me. How could you do that? And they said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I thought you said you were okay and open to doing it if you were drunk. And I have never said that. I have actually a really good memory of me saying the complete opposite. um, where I had told them that I'm not a very sexual. I'm a demisexual. I'm demisexual, sir. And we were not there. We were not connected whatsoever. I didn't feel that way. Wasn't attracted to him whatsoever. We didn't have that kind of friendship to begin with. So I was in just utmost disbelief. And I demanded that they provided me money for plan B for me to go take. And then I didn't see them in person. They just dropped off money in my mailbox, and then I never saw them again. And it's 7 years later, I never saw them again, thankfully, because I was a little scared and paranoid while living in this area that I would see them again. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is because, I want those who might have been through something either the same or similar to know that obviously you're not alone. And this is how I handled my healing. It took a while. I experienced a few years afterwards of just PTSD, at night, just having absolute panic attacks while I'm sleeping or even before I go to sleep or even during an intimate session with a partner. I have once experienced literally having a panic attack mid uh mid intimate session with a partner. Sorry, I laugh to go. So I don't think this entire situation is funny whatsoever. This is my coping mechanism. So I apologize. Just know that it's not that I find the situation funny, because it's not. What happened was not funny. It was fucked up and not okay. Um, and I'm really happy to say that after 7 years, I am in a much better place to where I can really talk about this without bawling into tears. So yeah. But anyway, after that event had happened, again, it took me a few weeks, and I was having just frequent panic attacks. And once I finally got to a place where I just really felt I wanted to talk to someone about this, um, I looked to talking to my eldest sister about it at the time, and we were kind of close. So I went to go tell her and my brother-in-law at the time, and at the time, my brother-in-law, still brother-in-law, and I was in a very vulnerable state. I had just taken place. It happened recently. I didn't take this to the police or anything because I was so scared. I didn't even want to acknowledge this event because it was scary. I just wanted to pretend maybe it didn't happen, maybe it didn't happen, maybe it didn't happen. But my body can feel it. My body and my mind and my memories, they're there, they exist. And I just didn't want to deal with it. I was already in such a bad place during that time. I was already self destructive. I was already like, my confidence was at like utmost low, lowest of low. And so all of this was just great cherry on top. That's a horrible way to phrase that. I apologize. But it was definitely like, uh, yeah. When I went to go tell my sister and my brother-in-law and open up to them, be vulnerable with them about what had happened, my sister presumed to tell me, basically invalidate the severity of the situation because they compared it with their own past situation in attempts to make me feel better, because they were like, oh, well, at least it wasn't like this, and at least instead you were like this, so it isn't, at least it's not that bad because you were this, like whatever reason it was. And let me tell you, I'm sure you can imagine that that's already like, that's like one of the worst possible ways you could ever comfort someone who is opening up about a traumatic event such as that one, is to compare it to your own and tell them that theirs wasn't as bad. Actually, you can imagine just like the pain, the hurt I was feeling in that moment when she was telling that to me in my face, as I was looking at them, at her in her face, sharing this traumatic experience that had just taken place to me. And they presumed to jest anyway. So with that being said, like my safety was compromised after that. I am no longer really close to my sister because of that. Um, when you open up to someone, you be vulnerable, and they respond with such an answer, it definitely makes quite the impact on you and your relationship with them. Um, and I'm more careful nowadays of who I share such personal information with, because my space and my safety is important, such as yours. After some time, it took a while, a couple years to really heal, but with the help of the new friends and the new people that I started surrounding myself with, um, I started to gain more confidence in myself, and I did finally actually got therapy. I got therapy and talked about it with a therapist at the time, and taking that time to really just address what it was and that incident in itself. Obviously, it was painful, but it was needed. And even more so to recognize that it wasn't my fault and it shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. But slowly and progressively, I finally started to come to a place where I wasn't going to allow that trauma to define me or to, I'm not going to say, like, this is who I am. I am just a victim, because I'm not just a victim. I'm also a survivor. And I'm strong and independent and resilient. And I've gone through a lot of different things in my life. And that one was definitely a horrible experience. And because of that experience, though, obviously I wish I didn't go through it. I'm never going to say, well, I'm glad I went through it, because then I wouldn't be the person I am today. Like, no, like, I don't wish that upon anybody. That shouldn't have happened. But it sucks that it happened with someone who I called a friend. But of course, we weren't really close like that. So I feel because of that experience and other experiences at the time, I've been way more careful with guarding my heart and my space and my safety, and more pickier about who I become close with. And I'm in a much better place. And I hope that you hearing this story can also help encourage and empower you as well, to know that it's not the end, and it does get better, and everyone's healing is different, because this did happen 7 years ago, and it took me 7 years to finally open up and speak on it. I've been wanting to speak on it for the last few years, but it's just each time I think about it, I feel like it would be hard, you know? But today I decided finally, like, no, I'm doing it because I want to. I'm I still will experience days where I just don't want to see this person. Like, what would I do if I saw this person in person, like in real life, on accident, like in the grocery store or something? Honestly, if I'm being real, I'd probably just hide. Get out of the grocery store. Um, yeah, that's probably like the most I would do. But ultimately, the thing that I would say that I changed, that it impacted me to heal much quicker, is, again, like I said, surrounding myself with people who validate my feelings and reassure me that, I'm not crazy, my feelings are valid, and what had happened was shitty. And other people that have gone through the same thing, it's extremely healing to open up to other people who have gone through something similar, or even just people who are empathetic and recognize how severe such an event is to a person. Everyone's different, of course, but for me, it was a very traumatic event. But I'm in a better place now. So if anybody's wondering, before they message me, I am doing much better. So I just want to thank everybody in my community for being so caring and so supportive. Like, there's only one or two people in my community that know about this, and even then, everybody has been so caring and so respectful and so supportive of me, and I cannot thank you guys enough. It's because of people like that in my community and in real life, my friends that I've surrounded myself with, and I cherish, and I put time to spend time with, um that have helped and really build up my confidence and security, and be in a place where, like, yeah, that event doesn't define me. It was a shitty experience for sure. But I'm getting past it. And it isn't to say it didn't happen. I'm not going to forget about it. I don't forgive the guy. I'm not obligated to forgive him. I'm never going to forgive him. But I am going to just move on, you know? And hope that they don't do it to another person. I do regret, if anything, the only thing I do regret is not going out of my way to report it to the police and anything, but I feel that cases like this just aren't typically taken very seriously or prioritized. And I think because of that, that also plays a part in why I didn't even want to. And I was just so scared The reason why I didn't tell police or report it is because I was so scared of making this such a big thing when literally everything else in my life at the time was so hectic and so crazy. I didn't want to I didn't want to inconvenience people with this traumatic experience event that had just transpired. I didn't want to I didn't want to be an inconvenience. So I was like, "Oh, but if I tell the police, then it's it's a thing now. It's now my family will know, my parents will know, and then that's something new to worry about. It's horrible. That's horrible. And yes, I did struggle with thoughts of thinking that I actually deserved it because of like shitty choices and impacts I've had on other people that I've hurt before emotionally and with my words. Like, because I was such a bad friend and a bad partner at the time to the previous partner, I felt like all this stuff that's happening and that happening, I actually convinced myself that I deserved it, which is terrible. That's terrible. Don't ever think that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I tell myself that. I also should not do that. And I knew that I shouldn't do that. But, the brain just kind of goes through it, especially when you are so very, very, very insecure and suffer with like a lot of anxiety. It just doesn't help. But again, I'm in a much better place now. What had happened was not my fault. I didn't deserve that, nor do you, nor does anybody deserve that. It's not your fault. And consent is so important. um anyway, that's my story. That's my Me Too story. If anyone has any questions for me about that said event, you're more than welcome to either DM me or ask in the comments below. And I would love to do like a Q&A video on it because I don't mind. How do I feel right now? I feel kind of relieved that I got through that not too bad in like less than 30 minutes. Let's go. W for bear. Thank you so much for listening to my story. And I hope you're feeling okay. I hope you're checking yourself and regulating your emotions all right. And if this was a hard one for you, please take some time to relax and tend to your well being because it is really important. My well being is important. Your well being is important. So please take care of yourself because you truly, truly, truly deserve it. You are worthy of love. You're worthy of self love. You're worthy of care and respect and having your boundaries respected. So I hope and I encourage you to normalize that for yourself. Surround yourself with people that truly, genuinely care and respect you because you deserve that. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. And I really hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope that I continue making more YouTube videos. Bye.